I welcome to all of you with the Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now in the previous lecture, we have started a very important topic that is called human digestive system. As I told you already, human digestive system has two important parts. One is alimentary canal, another is digestive glands. In the alimentary canal, we have studied up to this time the layers of AC, layers of alimentary canal. As I told you already, the layers of AC, alimentary canal has 4 layers: serosa, muscularis, submucosa and mucosa. Now today we shall start parts of alimentary canal. Yes, parts of AC. Alimentary canal has many parts. Number first part is mouth. Mouth. Now how can you define mouth? Mouth is the opening between the two lips, upper lip and lower lip. It is the opening between the two lips. Between the two lips. Yes, upper lip and lower lip. It helps us in ingestion. It helps us in ingestion. Ingestion means intake of food. So it is also called as gateway of body. Gateway. It is also called as gateway of body. We ingest food through mouth. That is why it is called a gateway of body. Now mouth leads us into very important part that is called mouth cavity. Mouth cavity. It is also called as buccal cavity. Shabash beta. It is also called as oral cavity. Mouth leads into mouth cavity. That is also called as buccal cavity, or we can say oral cavity. Yes. Now what are the various parts of mouth cavity? Mouth cavity can also contain some important parts, and these are like this. Shabash. Let us take parts of this mouth cavity. Suppose let us take first palate. What is palate? How can you define palate? Palate is the roof of oral cavity. It is the roof of oral cavity. Roof of oral cavity is called palate. Shabash, dhyan rakho. Palate is divided into two parts. And we have two types of palate. One is hard palate, another is soft palate. We have two types of palates. One is hard palate, another is soft palate. What is hard palate? Shabash. Hard palate is the anterior palate. Yes. Anterior palate is called hard palate. Anterior. Shabash. It is the anterior palate. Okay. Why it is hard? Why it is called a hard palate? Because it is bony. It is bony. Yes. Hard palate. It is bony. As it contains two types of bones, palatine and maxilla. Shabash, NEET wale yaad rakho. Palatine and maxilla. Palatine and maxilla are the two important bones which are present in hard palate. That is why it is called hard palate. It is bony. And it possesses folds. This hard palate possesses folds. Folds called ryugi. Ryugi. Which keep food in proper position. This ryugi keep food in proper position. Ryugi keep food in proper position. So this is hard palate. Now what is soft palate? Shabash. Posterior palate. Posterior palate. Posterior palate is called soft palate. Posterior palate is called soft palate. Why it is called soft? Shabash. Why it is called a soft palate? Because it is not bony. It is not bony. No any bone is present in soft palate. It is not bony. Okay. It is not bony. Okay. Now, what is the function of this soft palate? Soft palate. Yes. It helps us in swallowing. Swallowing of food. Yes. Soft palate helps us in swallowing of food. Yes. Okay. Now towards the end of this buccal cavity, there is also another palate that is called ula. Ula or Willem palate. Willem palate. There is another palate called ula. Ula or Willem palate. Willem palate. Willem palate. What is the function of this ula or Willem palate? It prevents entry of food into nasal cavity during swallowing. When we swallow food, food enters into pharynx and esophagus. Food will not enter into nasal cavity because it is prevented by ula, or we can say Willem palate. Yes, Willem palate. Shall I try to understand this ula or Willem palate? It prevents entry of food into nasal cavity during swallowing. It prevents entry of food into nasal cavity during swallowing. Yes. So this is all about palate. This is one component of this buccal cavity that is called palate. So let us take second component, second part of this buccal cavity. They are called tonsils. 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 Shabash Gobar. What are tonsils? Shabash. Tonsils. Tonsils. Tonsils, these are the lymphoid patches. These are the Shabash lymphoid patches present in buccal cavity. Buccal cavity. These are lymphoid structures present in buccal cavity. What does this mean? Lymphoid. Lymphoid means they contain lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are present in these tonsils. That is why they are called a lymphoid. Lymphoid. Yes. Now there are 4 types of tonsils in our buccal cavity. We have 4 types of tonsils. 4 types. Number first, pharyngeal tonsils. Pharyngeal. Pharyngeal tonsils attached to pharynx. These are pharyngeal tonsils attached to pharynx. Tubal tonsils present around eustachian tube. Eustachian tube. You might have heard about eustachian tube. It is a tube, it is a canal between the pharynx and the air, which equalizes pressure in air. Okay, that is called eustachian tube. Okay, so at this junction, or we can say around this eustachian tube, there is another type of tonsil. They are called tubal tonsils. Palatine tonsils. Palatine tonsils attached to palate. Attached to palate, they are called palatine tonsils. The another one is lingual tonsils. Lingual tonsils, lingual, attached to pharyngeal part of tongue. Attached to pharyngeal part of tongue. They are called lingual tonsils. So we have four types of tonsils. One is pharyngeal tonsil, tubal tonsil, palatine tonsil, lingual tonsil. Shabash. Pharyngeal tonsils, tubal tonsils, palatine tonsils, lingual tonsils. These are attached to pharynx. These are present around eustachian tube. These are attached to palate. These are attached to pharyngeal part of tongue. Okay. These are the four types of what? Tonsils. So in the buccal cavity, when these four types of tonsils they join together, they form a ring-like structure. That is called Valdeur's ring. Suppose these are pharyngeal tonsils. Pharyngeal tonsils. Suppose these are tubal tonsils. Tubal tonsils. These are palatine tonsils. Palatine tonsils. These are lingual tonsils. Lingual tonsils. Okay. So these are the tonsils, pharyngeal tonsils, tubal tonsils, palatine tonsils, lingual tonsils. When these tonsils join together, they form a ring-like structure. That is called Valdeur's ring. Valdeur's ring. This is Valdeur's ring. Okay. They form Valdeur's ring. Okay. Now what is the function of these tonsils? Shabash. As I told you just, these tonsils are lymphoid. They contain lymphocytes. Lymphocytes form antibodies. Shabash. Yaad rakho. And lymphocytes form antibodies. And antibodies kill microorganisms and protect us from infection. Yes. What is the function of tonsils? Functions of tonsils. Tonsils. They contain lymphocytes. They contain lymphocytes which form antibodies. Antibodies kill microbes. Antibodies kill microorganisms and protect us from infection. Okay, so lymphocytes are present in these tonsils. They form antibodies. Antibodies are proteins which kill microorganisms and protect us from infection. Okay, so these are the functions of our tonsils. But sometimes tonsils get infected by microorganisms. So one of the important microorganisms that is called Streptococcus pyogenes. They infect these tonsils and cause a disease that is called tonsillitis. Tonsillitis, yes, tonsillitis. Shabash, tonsillitis. Tonsillitis. What is tonsillitis? Shabash. Inflammation. Inflammation and pain of tonsils. Pain of tonsils. Inflammation and pain of tonsils is called tonsillitis. Okay. So it is caused by Streptococcus Streptococcus pyogenes. They cause tonsillitis. Okay. Now in tonsillitis, pain occurs, swelling of these tonsils occurs. Oh. Now how can we remove this tonsillitis? We can remove tonsillitis by gargling. We can remove tonsillitis by gargling. Tonsillitis is removed by gargling. gargling, gargling with warm salt water, warm salt water, gargling by warm salt water. This is called gargling, thrice a day. It is also removed. It is also removed by use of pomegranate, pomegranate fruit. Pomegranate fruit also help us in the removal of this tonsillitis. Okay, and in acute cases, this in acute case of this tonsillitis, sometimes tonsils are surgically removed, and that process called tonsillectomy. Tonsillectomy. What is tonsillectomy? Tonsillectomy means surgical removal of tonsils. Surgical removal of tonsils is called tonsillectomy. Tonsillectomy is the surgical removal of tonsils. We can remove these tonsils by surgery. The surgical removal of tonsils is called tonsillectomy. So these are tonsils. Let us take another part. We have some time at our disposal. We will take another component of this buccal cavity, that is called tongue. Yes, third component, tongue. It is the muscular structure present in buccal cavity. Tongue. It is a muscular structure present in buccal cavity. It is 10 centimeters long. It is pink in color. This tongue. And sometimes tongue becomes white. What does this indicate? White tongue. White tongue indicates presence of bacteria and dehydrated tongue. Yes. White tongue indicates presence of bacteria or dehydrated. Means loss of water occurs here. Dehydrated tongue also becomes white. Okay. So this tongue, it is one end is free. Suppose this tongue, it is one end is free and another end is fixed to the floor of buccal cavity by a fold. Shabash. What is the name of that fold? Very important. It is very important from examination point of view. What is the name of that fold? That fold is called frenulum. Frenulum is a fold which attaches this tongue, one end of tongue, with the floor of buccal cavity. That is called frenulum. Yes. Shabash. One end of tongue is free and another end is fixed to the floor of buccal cavity. By a fold called frenulum. Shabash, very important point. शाबाश, नीट वालों के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है यहाँ पे frenulum. It's a fold which attaches this tongue with the floor of buccal cavity. Yes, frenulum. And this tongue is also attached to the hyoid bone on back side. It is also attached with the hyoid bone, Hyoid, hyoid bone. It is also attached with the hyoid bone on back side. Yes, on back side it is attached with the hyoid bone or tongue bone. It is also called as tongue bone or lingual bone, hyoid bone, tongue bone, lingual bone, one and the same thing. Yes. Now the tongue, it is dorsal side, dorsal surface, has V-shaped furrows. V-shaped furrows are also present on the dorsal side of the tongue. Such V-shaped furrows are called as, yes, sulcus terminalis. Sulcus terminalis. Yes. शाबाश बेटा, याद रखो. The dorsal surface of tongue has V-shaped furrows called sulcus terminalis. Sulcus terminalis are the furrows, V-shaped furrows present on the dorsal side. Yes, the dorsal side of tongue also has elevations. They are called as papillae. The dorsal surface of tongue has elevations called papillae. Okay, the dorsal side of tongue has elevations called papillae. These papillae bear very important structures called taste buds. Yes, papillae bear taste buds. Papillae bear taste buds. Which help in taste sensation. Okay, shall I try to understand? Papillae bear taste buds which help in taste sensation. Okay, you know, at this time we are dealing with human digestive system. We will study this tongue in nervous system also. उस चैप्टर में हम क्या पढ़ेंगे? हम पढ़ेंगे different types of papillae. There are different types of papillae which have different types of taste buds. That is why we perceive four tastes. As we have four types of papillae, four types of taste buds. That part we will study in nervous system. Yes. Here we are dealing with digestive system. We have to take it as digestive function, digestive role. Yes. So what is the function of this tongue? Functions of tongue. Shabash. Functions of tongue. Digestive functions. What are the digestive functions of tongue? Shabash. First, it helps in taste sensation. Number first. Number second, it helps in ingestion. Shabash. It helps in ingestion, means intake of food. Tongue also helps in intake of food, or we can say ingestion of food. Number next, it also helps in the mixing of. It also helps in the mixing of food with saliva. Tongue also helps in the mixing of food with saliva. Okay. That is why this food becomes slippery. Okay. So another function of tongue, it converts food into food bolus. Food food bolus is formed by tongue. It converts food into food bolus. Food bolus for easy swallowing. Okay. So these are the digestive functions of what? Tongue. The rest of the tongue we will study in nervous system. Okay. So this was my today's topic about this tongue, tonsils and palate. So tomorrow we shall take, it is another important component which is present in the buccal cavity, that is called teeth. Very important from the examination point of view. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.